Welcome to the Sounds Obtuse Podcast, where we take our traumatic past and make outrageous laughs. I am your host, Dylan Carter. With me, as always, my trusty co-host, Christian Cruz.
How's it going, man?
Man, I'm loving every minute of it. It's going fantastic.
Yeah, me too. It's been a pretty wild time, pretty wild week. We actually seldom caught wind of each other. It seemed.
I know. Even though we were probably working together most of the time, it's been so busy. How can we even see each other?
Yeah, just like schedules didn't match up. It's caught up for a little bit yesterday.
Nobody want to see us together. Quote Akon.
That don't even matter though. What does matter is that we're here doing this podcast.
And I got you.
Bae, isn't that it?
Something like that.
I think so.
We're having fun. We're getting loose. Having a little fun.
Yeah, good to be back here. Episode 28.
28.
Talking about some good stuff. Approaching 30 quickly.
Every episode we do now,
Episode 14.
I just like look down. We just get to look down on more and more failed pods that haven't fucking made it past 28 now.
I know, man.
And there's so many.
We're almost double what we like. Our bare like minimum effort thought we can at least do for sure.
There's like a wall at like 5 and a wall at like 12 episodes.
Yeah, if you get past 20, you're like in like the upper whatever percent.
You're a veteran at that point.
20, man.
We're doing it.
Unique ones at that too. It's not just like, some guy talking to himself. We got two people here. That's what makes this show great. So I think I want to ask after you did the intro. Beautiful intro, by the way.
Thank you.
How have you been, man?
Man, it's just been it's been a lot of working. We both work in retail, same establishment, and it's been just 4th of July. Build up to 4th of July weekend. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I got corn out the ass over in produce.
You got all the corn coming out your ass.
So much corn. Corn taller than me. It's too much corn.
Too much corn.
Quarter an ear though. You can't beat that. Get your corn.
For real?
Dude, 25 cents an ear.
Inflation ain't touched corn.
Nah, dude. If inflation touches corn, we got a problem.
We're out of here.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
What about you? Anything interesting happening with you?
We did get around to playing coup with a bunch of people. That was pretty fun to get that under our belt.
I thought so as well. I think it was like I very much enjoyed it just with one person, but having a bunch of people was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's pretty great stuff. Other than that, I've been playing a lot of TMNT. One of the few chances I think we're gonna hang out. Just missed your phone call. I was playing the final boss. You going to fight Shredder. Wu-Tang Clan starts playing, and you of course there's like 2 levels to that. Krang, Shredder, great game. I highly recommend you play it. Shredder's Revenge.
Is this on Switch?
It's on Switch. It's on Game Pass. It's fucking everywhere.
Oh, for real?
Everywhere.
Okay.
It's really fun. If you like beat 'em ups, Ninja Turtles, it's a way to do it. Also this week in animals. Last week I was fighting a fly. This week I almost saw a squirrel get ran over. Like, car's coming, he's running towards it. Literally, like, his whiskers must have touched. I almost saw him get just, like, flattened, but stopped on a dime.
You went and saved it, right?
I would have. He was in the street, like, running towards the car, like, about to get ran over.
Would you sacrifice yourself for a squirrel?
Like, my whole being? Like, dead on the spot?
Like, you have to run and basically throw yourself in front of that car full on to save that squirrel. You gonna save it?
I'll pretend to.
I thought you loved animals.
I do, but I mean, I could. Here's the thing.
Sounds like it.
Here's the thing. If that squirrel dies and I live, I could potentially save even more animals. What's that squirrel gonna do? Eat some nuts, sleep all winter, die eventually. Die way sooner than I will. Probably get hit by a car.
Okay.
So yeah. Sometimes you gotta kill the animals to save them.
All right. Population control.
Yep. Sometimes the right answer, is throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah. Quote Bill Gates.
Other than that, I've just been editing some pods. Looking forward to having those out.
We got them coming out now. They are, boy, after the drought comes the flood.
For sure. There's so many funny things. I'm really looking forward to those. This is why I say that, because if you remember, we were talking about the movie It Follows.
Yeah.
Ended up putting that on.
Oh yeah, what'd you think?
Forgot all about it until now, but also fell asleep halfway through. So
I mean, that's a review in and of itself.
like I said, I forgot about it until like it was recorded down that we even mentioned it, and then yeah. So I'm sure it's a fine movie.
It's probably great if you can stay awake.
Yeah, if you could stay awake.
Got any news for us?
I do. Yeah. Other than that, I do got some news that stuff that happens that's not me.
I got a few things too. Let's hear it.
All right, so I'll start with the softball one. Real quick, drunk employee passes out in the streets, loses an entire city's personal data. Social security numbers, addresses, names, phone numbers, all that stuff. 2 USB sticks.
Nice.
Yeah, it was
That's all it takes?
yeah, apparently. He hung out with some old colleagues, had a few too many adult pops, as you say.
As they say.
Had the USBs in his pocket. Don't know where they're at.
We've all been there.
Yeah, this is from Amagoshi, Japan. Nearly 500,000 people. Luckily, they found them, recovered.
Oh, okay.
No signs of tampering that they've said.
Yet. China.
Mm-hmm.
Watching you.
You got no story for us?
I think I might. So everyone who listens to this probably knows I'm a huge fan of the video game. You always do video game stuff.
I do.
It's my turn.
I did earlier.
You did. It's my turn. So here's the news story about it. The Hunter Call of the Wild released its newest DLC, Reserve, Reventuli Coast. Explore the magical world of coastal Finland, where beneath the northern lights you will hunt a massive 19 different animal species with a special focus on waterfowl and game birds. It dropped on Tuesday. I was off on Tuesday. I didn't do much else but play the game. That's all I did. Got home today, super early, played the game.
Is that the best when you just like sink into a game for multiple hours?
Absolutely, but also, so like the Hunter Call of the Wild, the past several maps that have been DLC have been like a mega hype and then sort of lackluster. Like they had gators, mega hype, lackluster. And now, but this one, again, mega hype, it did it.
Actually delivered?
Full on delivered. Probably the best map on the game.
Wow.
And that's amazing when you actually like fully have that realization. Now it is still new. Maybe that's an early assessment, but that's what a lot of the streamers are saying too. That's the only game that I actually watch like streamers play and stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Reventuli Coast, Hunter the Call of the Wild, great game just to sink into, shoot some pixels, take out your day on them. Or if that ain't your whole vibe, just walk around and take some pictures. You know, you can also do that. You don't have to kill anything. You can just walk around and enjoy this beautiful game. What else you got?
Well, speaking of killing things.
Sweet.
This is from ABC News. Don't know where it takes place, but the situation escalated from 0 to 100 in a matter of seconds. Customer allegedly shoots Subway worker over too much mayonnaise on sandwich. You used to work at Subway?
Yep.
Could you imagine?
I mean, it was like a daily occurrence over in Hampton.
One employee, a 26-year-old woman, was killed, and another, a 24-year-old woman, was injured in the shootings, police say. Here's a quote. A customer came in, and he wasn't happy with the way his sandwich was made. There was too much mayonnaise on it. And that's a quote from the owner. He says, we've always been able to de-escalate any situation, but this one just went from 0 to 100 in a matter of seconds. Now we've got a young person who is probably going to spend the rest of his life in jail over a $7 sandwich and some mayonnaise.
A little salty. Don't forget the salt.
Put some Parmesan on it.
Man, that
sucks.
Pretty great. I love they're like, we feel so bad for him that he's going to jail for so long over a $7 sandwich and some mayo.
Mental health, perhaps?
Yeah, shout out previous episode.
Yeah, I think so.
They probably didn't like offer him like a free bag of Miss Vicky's. That's probably the problem. They probably should have just like led with that.
The person who retweeted this story in my news feed said death of a sandwich artist.
Beautiful. So a couple pods ago, you guys heard me talk about how Sweden and Finland were joining NATO. They applied to join NATO. And that was all going to be awesome. And then Turkey piped up and said, yo, we're not going to let you. So
I remember that. There's some contention there.
So Sweden and Finland.
June?
So Sweden and Finland send a delegation to Turkey to hash out a plan, an agreement. And they did. They already signed it. Trilateral agreement. Basically, Turkey saying we aren't going to veto. They were the only person standing in the way. So Sweden and Finland will become NATO members. That's almost guaranteed. Big questions come from what did they agree to allow that? And we have our first glimpses of it today. So in exchange for lifting their objections, Sweden and Finland will begin extraditing Kurdish prisoners. They will be cutting off aid to Kurdish groups like the PKK. And this will probably all involve them declaring the PKK and other Kurdish groups as terrorist organizations. A little bit of backstory there. You have this region of the Middle East, takes up part of Turkey, part of Iraq, part of Syria, part of Iran. It's Kurdistan. It's not an actual country as far as like the UN is concerned, but it exists to the people who live there, which are Kurds. And Turkey doesn't like them. They think that they're terrorists. Most other places think they're not terrorists. America has constantly used these people as bargaining chips to either help or oppose. But it seems like a place where they were always sort of treated well, which is Finland and Sweden, now part of them joining NATO is going to be giving up some of their autonomy, sort of maybe going back on some of their deals with the PKK, Kurdish groups. I'm not a big fan of that. As much as I want to see them in NATO, I hate it had to come that way. I think that was to be expected, but it's a little sad for me.
You hate to see anybody compromise.
For sure. And I mean, the Kurds have been fucked around for so long. It's just bullshit to see this, but it's also good. Finland, Sweden joining NATO. NATO's literally taking up a massive chunk of Russia's border now. Oh, that's fantastic. Fuck you, Putin.
Yeah, fuck Putin.
Fuck Putin, man.
We'll talk about more of about that later.
Probably.
I know a guy who also would agree with that sentiment.
This is true. So what else you got?
So we got you fan of the films, the movies that come out in theaters as they do?
Oh yeah.
Pixar films.
Sure.
You see the newest one, Lightyear?
I haven't. Is it out yet?
It is out. It is out in theaters.
Is it on Disney Plus?
Probably, but not yet.
Okay.
Definitely, but not yet. So here's the article. And I've seen this in several ways, but this one specifically is from New York Post. The headline read, Lightyear flop is a sign of weary Hollywood wokeness.
Sounds like something New York Post would write.
Doesn't it? So I guess they're saying people aren't liking this movie because it's too woke. And people aren't a fan of that. So they don't like this movie.
Do you actually think that's why people didn't like the movie?
I think it probably just sucks.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like they're trying to make something out of nothing.
I would also think that.
It's like, it's too woke. It's like, do you say it about every other movie you don't like, or?
It would, it's a great way to explain terrible numbers, though, for sure.
Yeah. Especially if you don't like woke culture and want to demonize it.
And it almost in a way makes you want to go see the film to see if you were justified in your actions.
I mean, I'll probably watch it. My girlfriend's probably gonna make me.
All right, tell me how woke it is.
We'll do.
Give us an update, please.
Let's hope I can stay awake.
I heard it's got lesbians in it. Your favorite?
Ooh, perfect.
Yeah,
love it.
Maybe that's why people are mad.
It probably is.
Think
like,
so?
Oh wow, they're trying to force this shit down our throat. Trying to force it down our throat.
For what I heard backstage,
dragging me into the theater, making me watch it, prying my eyes open.
People, they're
forcing
talking
it
to some people who actually work on these films. They're saying audiences aren't going to like it. It's not woke enough, and it is the battle of is wokeness changing or challenging the actual art itself.
I feel like we both need to watch it and square up for a debate.
All right. Okay. All right.
Okay.
We'll revisit this. Lightyear coming soon to a podcast near you.
I also have my last thing here. I have ex-President Donald Trump lunged at a Secret Service agent in The Beast, shouting, "I'm the fucking president. take me up to the Capitol now when told he could not be taken to the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. Former White House aide Cassidy Hutchinson testified. Hutchinson, who worked for Trump's chief of staff, Mark Meadows, revealed the incident to the Select House Committee investigating the Capitol riots. So basically, he was told, like, take me up to the Capitol. He told all the people, I was watching that day live, he told all the people, I'm going to be right there with you. We're going to march to the Capitol and stop this election from being stolen. And then he got in the beast, and apparently the Secret Service was like, you're absolutely not going there. All those people are armed. And he says, well, yeah, but they're not there to hurt me. That's like a quote from her. It's like, they're not there to hurt me. So he wanted to go. Fucking U.S. president.
You know,
Making America great, one step at a time.
You know, hate all you want, but he lunged, you said?
He lunged at the Secret Service agent
That
when they wouldn't take him. And then he grabbed him by the throat and said, I'm the fucking president.
That shows spryness. Joe Biden could never.
You know what? Sure. I'll take Sleepy Joe over despotic Trump any day of the week.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, but if I was Trump, I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, take me up there. I'm the president.
Joe's not spry enough to try to formulate a coup, so I'm cool with it. I'll take that over the alternative.
Yeah, that's true. You gotta elect him weak.
Yeah,
because then that's when you.
That's what Thomas Jefferson wanted.
That's
was
when
a
you
weak
revolt,
government,
right?
Thomas Jefferson wanted a weak government, not a strong man. So Thomas Jefferson would be pro Joe Biden, very anti-Trump, obviously.
Yeah, I agree. Possibly, yeah, he would be.
You know who probably would support Trump?
George Washington?
Thinking like a Mussolini or
maybe Adolf.
Maybe Adolf. I wasn't
Possibly.
gonna jump there, but I was gonna let you take it. I'm glad you did.
I'm just naming names here.
Just kind of nosing in there.
I'm just naming names here.
We're just asking questions. We're just asking questions. I don't understand why people are getting mad at us for just asking questions. Is Donald Trump a Nazi? I don't know. I'm just asking. Would all Nazis love Donald Trump? I don't know. Just asking. Anyway, what were we talking about? I kind of lost myself there for a minute.
You know, I forgot myself. We're talking about the Jan 6 hearings.
Yeah.
Anything else you had to add?
No, I think that's basically that was the big development. Was just a lot of those developments. Oh, he asked. He was so worried about the size of the crowds. He had to make sure it would be a big crowd. You know, he's all about the crowd size.
Oh yeah.
So he asked that metal detectors be removed.
Yeehaw.
Because he said there's too many people being turned away for having weapons, and it's making the crowd small. So he wanted the metal detectors removed.
Bold move.
Yep. Please move to fucking Afghanistan. Please. Get your picket fence. Move to Afghanistan.
I did have one more story.
Please.
And
lay it on me.
I can understand if you wanted to cut it. I don't have much to say about it, but I will say this. This is from... I don't know where it's from. But a 29-year-old...
It's great reporting over there, Christian.
A 29-year-old trans woman beats 13-year-old girl in New York City women's skateboarding.
Well, congratulations.
So, regardless of any, obvious trans comparisons, I just don't know if a 29-year-old should be competing with a 13-year-old.
Yeah, I think on that basis, I get it.
You know what I mean? It's like, well, of course she's gonna win, right?
Why would she not?
Yeah, like that's like a whole extra lifetime plus that she's lived than this kid. That's
Welcome
unfair.
back to the X Games skateboarding halfpipe final. We have Tony Hawk versus Timmy.
Like Timmy, first grade, at 6 years old.
That's it. So yeah, which one's gonna win?
Yeah. So if anything's unfair, that's unfair. Age difference for sure.
I bet you that's not what other people were saying. I bet you a lot less people were talking about the age.
Maybe. I don't know why they do that though. That's all I had.
Well, I think with that being said,
we gotta pay some bills, don't we?
Let's pay some bills. Let's do it. Let's make that cheddar. We'll be right back. A portion of this podcast is proudly provided by
Burger Bros Burgers. It's burgers for bros. If you're a bro in need of a burger, Burger Bros Burgers has your back. We've got the biggest all-beef patties using only Tyson's best bison and served fresh daily. All our ingredients are fresh from the farm forever. Never will Burger Bros break their promise made by founders Bobby Burger Boy Harrison and his brother Brett back in 1959 when they opened up their first burger stand. Since then, their burgers have been a worldwide phenomenon, and to celebrate their 63rd anniversary, available for limited time only, try our newest burger, toppled with barbecue and Baja sauces, and in the true brotherly fashion, Brett's brand Best Boogers encrusted bacon. Try the Brother Burger today, only at Burger Bros Burgers. Brothers since birth, making burgers for their family and yours. Gotta love Burger Bros.
I love that they use, like, I mean, honestly, like, it's almost like a company listens to our podcast and is like, well, how many of their sponsors can I use to make my burgers? Which I appreciate, because everything that they sell basically is helping us.
It is, and the thing was, you know Brett's Boogers.
I do.
We've had them before.
They're encrusting the bacon.
Well, not just that, they're actually brothers.
They're also brothers?
Yeah, Brett is Bobby's brother.
Boy, this family.
So yeah, they start with burgers, but then Brett was like, "Hey, you got the burgers, right, Bobby?"
This is Brett from Brett's
Yeah.
Burger. What? I didn't know that.
That's how they were able to make that deal happen.
It's like a Habsburg family tree.
It is. So yeah, so they started with the burgers, and then Brett was like, "Hey, Bobby, you're literally you're the burger boy. I'm gonna go do some booger stuff." And of course, they're still Burger Bros since birth.
But not Booger Bros.
No.
Just
Not
Brett.
yet. Yeah. Brett makes the boogers. Together they make the burgers. But you combine the burgers and the boogers, you got the Brother Burger. Available for limited time.
Well, thank you, Burger Brothers.
The podcast.
Thank you for supporting the podcast.
And we're back. Thank you for supporting the podcast, guys. Every little bit helps. Really appreciate it. Speaking of every little bit helping, some of us had less parents than others. Some of us had more parents than others. Dylan, how many parents have you had?
So, I've had 4 legally.
4 legally.
I've had 4 parents legally.
How's that possible?
Well, I guess you got to have some step parents.
I guess so.
Step on up.
Is that what that means?
I don't know. I feel like...
Yeah, where did that come from? I'm sure it's some old English term.
Probably like stoop parents or something. I don't know. Anyway, fucking Chaucer.
You're probably not wrong.
You get it. You get it. Chaucer, all of it. So I feel like, much like a box of chocolates, step parents also, you never know what you're going to get. You are totally bringing someone into your dynamic that could be either great. I've known some fantastic step parents. And then I've also known not fantastic step parents. And I think it's just an interesting thing. We both had them. So I thought we should talk about it. I think it'd be a fun little thing.
Yeah, one thing when I think of step parents is the Childish Gambino line. He refers to himself, he says, "Rap's stepfather, know you hate me, but you will respect." I think sometimes a lot of that's like what a step parent is to some people. So you might hate them, but you gotta respect them for your own parents' sake, your actual biological parents' sake. And I think that's a hard time. I've only had one step parent though. I've had like some in the vein of like, you know, boyfriend girlfriend, but not like actually married to say step parents. But only one true stepfather, which ironically enough, is pretty much my actual father. We've discussed him on the pod before. If we know anything about this guy, loves Chihuahuas, hates Putin.
Absolutely. You know, you nailed it. That's how you sum him up. That's like his, not that he needs it because he's with your mother, but that's like his Match.com profile.
Yeah.
Just 2 sentences sums it up.
With like a motorcycle emoji somewhere on the profile.
Yep.
That would totally be it. But that's my only step parent. Like I said, do you want to talk about what you got first on your?
So I sort of want to start with a question.
Mm-hmm.
So we're both males, so
We
this will be the male version of this question. But of course, if you're female, or if you're other, you're welcome to take this however you would. But would you, Christian, want to be a stepdad?
So it's interesting.
Or perhaps you could even say, would you be willing to be a stepdad?
So it's very interesting because I was raised by a stepfather. So in some regards, it almost feels like if anyone has like I don't want to say responsibility, but like an understanding of how important that is, it would be me. However, I don't like kids. And not that I don't like kids, I just don't want kids. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want that responsibility, so I don't think about it. With that said, I am at that age where, you know, a lot of my friends are having kids as well. And I've known girls even dated girls in the past that have had kids. I'm like, not for me. You know, not long term.
I want that sitcom.
I
want that sitcom.
We're not
so
getting
bad.
married. You know, it's just not happening. But when you ask me that question, for me, like, I don't want my own kids. I'd adopt before then, which makes me think, like, could I possibly? Because it's like, on one hand, I could do, you know, that stepdad thing, but also I can be out of there at any moment. Have that, you know, cold-hearted crassness.
You like having that, like, suitcase packed mentality.
Yeah, I think you have to, because ultimately, like, regardless, like, you're, you know, third fiddle in that dynamic, I think inherently, perhaps. Depending, you know, it all depends how much you can grow. But, you know, taking that gamble, that seems to be the initial odds. You know what I mean?
See,
because you still got that, in theory, baby daddy to, you know, contend with on some regards. Could you?
I think so.
Think so?
I do. I don't claim to be like the favorite like, kids aren't my favorite people. That being said, I understand they're a necessary part of life, and I can get along with some of them. Your brothers, say, maybe speak into existence, possibly one day stepchild?
Possibly.
Possibly one day stepchild?
Yeah, I don't want to, because like I said, even
we don't want to thrust that on him.
Yeah, but even
that's
like
his decision. But nevertheless, my point being, like, there's kids that I get along with, you know. So I think it's part kids' effort and part adults' effort trying to blend a family. There's a really good movie about that blended.
I think if you can do that, it does show that you, like, go beyond caring of your kin or not, you know? Because, like, obviously you have to, you know, appreciate the adult in the situation, but then, like, to also come with that, if you want to use the word baggage, you know, that could be tough for everybody.
I think I could, but I also saw some ways that it shouldn't be done. So I think I could personally take some of that information and use it to mine and the kids' advantage.
For sure.
And speaking of ways to not do it, can we get into this?
Yeah, man.
So I had two step parents. We'll start with my mom, because that one's easier. My mom was not a step parent; she was my full parent. But she was 0-4 on marriages. Number 4 was to a cowboy. His name was Bob. He was a hard-drinking Vietnam vet, Old West cowboy. But he taught me cowboy skills like horse riding, fence making, and the lasso, and also how to make the perfect Bloody Mary. Despite the fact he and my mother didn't work out, he still actually offered her and I the opportunity to stay at his property. He kept himself occupied as much as possible on ranch work, but when he didn't have anything to do, he occupied himself with a bottle of Canadian Mist. Bob was super cool. He was oddly conservative in some ways, but still just a really good guy. He's one of those guys that showed you, like, life lessons through parable and sort of just, like, work. And he would like have you setting fence post all day, and then he'd come back and he would have some little witty, like Abraham Lincoln-esque story about why setting those fence posts made you a better person, stuff like that.
Uplifting words of...
Yeah, and I liked that.
Okay.
And he was big into not like poetry the way you and I might be.
Lots of wisdom.
But like cowboy poetry. He was big into cowboy poetry. So the man could sit around a campfire and you wouldn't think it. You know, this big burly horseman. But he would sit around the campfire and he'd tell these just fucking moving, like Marty Robbins-esque poems. And it was just great. I really idolized him in the beginning of their marriage. He was just like so cool. He had all these cool toys. He had a ranch. He had like a fucking rhino. He had an ATV, all the fun stuff. A bunch of horses. Just thought it was the coolest thing ever. He also, I put down, made me love the outdoors.
So this is your actual mom and her fourth husband.
Yes.
Okay.
And then he made me love the outdoors. And despite the fact that I saw the darker side of PTSD, he was in Vietnam. And then saw the darker side of that, probably some loneliness, things along those lines. I still respected him. To this day, actually, I still respect him. Bob was he was a good guy. Taught me some stuff. And then on my dad's side here,
this is the stepmother.
This is my stepmom. This is my stepmom Terry. So then on my dad's side, my real dad's side, he was married twice, once to my mother, and the second was to Terry, my stepmom. Still my stepmom. And I wrote down here, I sort of tried to describe them in like a little blurb, and for her I wrote, abusive monster, but a good teacher. Despite several years of psychological and physical abuse and basically solidifying the divide between my father and I, she also taught me basic learning skills, reading, writing, etc., that helped me go from being way behind to one of the smartest kids in my class. So that one was very interesting. So they got together really really quickly, really rapidly after my mom. I probably not suspiciously rapidly. I don't mean to phrase it like that, but as a kid, like time kind of moves weird, and it's like, you know, a couple years after he left my mom, it seems like super soon. In the beginning, she wasn't actually all that bad. We actually kind of like really got along. It was great. She had her own son, but he was like way older than me because she had him like super young, so he was like way older than me. But then things started getting like really bad, just like weird, and just like an escalation of, so like they started being together when I was in like first grade. Second grade, maybe.
So you're like 8,
something like that, and then up until 17, I was
so
under
a decade. You were under her roof.
Under her roof.
Okay.
And my dad, so he worked like tons of overtime working in a power plant, so it was just me and her, all the freaking time. And if I may just go over some things that maybe step parents shouldn't do, she would constantly steal my shit. Like everything that I had, she would just steal it, and then she would use that oh, Dylan just got this Christmas gift. He got an iPod for his Christmas gift. She'd take that like 2 days after I fucking got it, and then when I didn't have it anymore, Dad'd be like, "Yo, where's the iPod we got you?" Well, it's fucking gone, and they'd be like, "Well, you're so irresponsible," basically using that to like erase my father's opinion of me.
Oh, it's fucked up.
A little bit.
It's real messed up.
A little bit. One time she stole the movie Brokeback Mountain from me. It was just like one of many movies, but I found it. We were cleaning out like her office or something and moving it to a different room.
Stashed it in her office.
Right? Not like she was like literally just stole it from me to put it in a drawer so I couldn't have it. Not like, yo, you can't watch this. Like I'm like 17 years old. This is like towards the very end. Like,
do you think she was jealous of you?
I think she just wanted control over me.
You don't think she was potentially wanted your dad's attention to herself and actually
she already had it.
Give a shit about you?
She already had it.
So she's just trying to take you out of the equation.
It's absolutely just, I personally think it was just for control. I think she was a person who seemed to lack control and sought it desperately. Like vanity, just had to be the person in charge. So she's like, I found that, and like I was like about to freak out and start yelling like, "Yo, I caught your ass!" And then she gave it to her son, who was also helping us. Gave it to him, was like, you need to go hide this, and basically like restrained me so I couldn't yell for my dad. He'd be like, yo, check this shit out. And so like I basically just got like mugged. It's so fucking fucked up.
That's such a weird situation, man.
She was
like, something you never thought you would imagine ever,
bruh,
let alone
everything I ever bought, I kept at my friend's house or at my mom's house. I had a friend across the street. I would literally like we played quote unquote Life, the board game, for like 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was constantly taking it back and forth to his house. That's because they had like movies and shit that I'd bought and wanted to stash somewhere until I could go over to my mom's. So I'd have to like transport movies and clothes and stuff that I bought with my own money. I would have to transport over to my friend's house like contraband in a board game box. Fucked up. Yeah, to this day, I'm very like I don't really talk about like purchases that I make with my significant other. I'm not intentionally trying to hide it from her. It's just habit. I just don't tell people about what I buy. I just keep the shit secret.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that necessarily.
Trying to kind of speed through this. I don't want to make it all just like a story about this, but there's just some shit you can talk about here. I would have to change this. I would change my clothing at school because she was super controlling over like what I wore, what I did, what I listened to.
Oh, that's whack in
my
general.
Identity.
But not at first?
No, not immediately, but like during like middle school, high school, like my emo years. Just like all my emo clothes was just my locker was
that's
emo clothes.
That's the sitcom I want to see. Dylan the emo years.
I'll find some pictures for you. She also stole a ton of money from me whenever I finally left. She had been like accumulating a bunch of my paycheck from Chick-fil-A.
Sounds like a bitch.
Yeah, just a lot of gaslighting is really what it boils down to, I guess. She would, I don't know. One time, she punched me in the lip, or hit me in the mouth, busted my lip, and when I told my dad about it, like, yo, I got proof now. She convinced him that it was just like a sore, and I was making it up to get her in trouble. And that was like the final, just like me and my dad, like the whole book thing that we talked about with my divorce episode. Part of that. And this one, like I said, she just sort of solidified that.
And that was all like around the same time.
Yeah. Damn. Terrible time. Some good stuff. Like I said, she taught me to be smart, but she also taught me how to. She taught me to love walking, and how to occupy myself within my own thoughts. Even though it's not exactly in a good way, because I would, like I said, my dad worked overtime, so I would get home from school, grab an apple or something, and then go straight to the subdivision down the road and walk around for hours until my dad got home, because I didn't want to be at home alone with her.
Oh,
and
I
then
get that.
One more thing, she always tried to just like constantly break me down mentally, like degrade me, like my weight, my stutter, and this one, my sexuality. And even before I had a quote unquote sexuality, so I don't talk about this a ton, but basically, the neighbor, older gentleman, he invited me over to play one day, and he wanted to play animals. So he asked me to pick an animal. I have a book, and I picked a leopard, and then he told me to get naked. But see, I didn't, because that felt a little sus, sussy baka action happening.
Definitely a sussy baka.
So that story existed, and then that story gets relayed to her. And she would always tell me that I was a faggot because a gay man wanted me. And so like that was something I did. Like I was the problem. I was the faggot. And it's just like, yeah.
I don't think logic works that way.
I don't think
per
it does.
se.
I mean, she ended up being right.
Because I like a lot
of
lesbians.
At least half right.
I'm not a lesbian. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't think it works that way.
I don't think it does, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some fucked up shit.
That is pretty messed up. Yeah, there's definitely something up with, like you said, I don't know too many bad. I mean, like I said, there's always that stereotypical just like step parent, and there's so many reasons to hate them. Just right off the cuff, like you're not my real dad, you're not my real mom, that sort of thing. But when they're doing shit like that, that's the reason to hate them.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it's especially once I lost like the safety of my dad even believing me. Like at the very end, my dad wouldn't believe anything I said. She had completely eroded my ability to complain to my dad about anything because he didn't believe anything I said.
All that karma stockpile just eroded away.
Yep. Just I couldn't say anything. She could do whatever she wanted to me, and I couldn't say anything about it because he wouldn't believe me.
That's a damn shame.
It was.
It's a real damn shame.
And with Bob, it was like he's out there teaching me parables, and sure, he's dragging me out and showing me how to put in fence rails, but I mean, at least he's not stealing my shit and telling me I'm fucking gay. There's different ways to parent, I guess. I don't know. I don't mean to make it all down, but when we're talking about step parents, I had to share that story. I have an absolute horror story with step parents, and it's honestly the first time I've ever talked about it publicly. I'm talking about it with my friends. You know my story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people know I talk about it, but I don't talk about it publicly. And I was honestly almost torn because, like, they're on my Facebook page. They presumably know I have a podcast.
I mean, they were there, right?
Yeah. I mean, they were there, but presumably they also know I have a podcast. And so this has sort of been this thing, like, since I left. We've just never really mentioned any of it. Like, it's just been, we just call each other, me and my dad. I don't call her. But,
FTB.
So, like, it's just sort of been swept under the rug. One of these days I might write a letter, but I was a little nervous about even saying it out loud on the pod because, like, she could listen to it or something like that. But I hope you fucking do.
Hey, man, YOLO.
YOLO.
As a kid said a decade ago.
Absolutely. Fucking YOLO. I hope you listen to it. Because I didn't forget.
I should talk about my dad, my stepdad.
Please. I'm sorry to monopolize the
It's
whole
all good.
thing. You tell us a story of someone who didn't do any of those nasty, terrible
definitely
things.
not.
Someone who is a good stepdad.
Definitely. I couldn't imagine a better stepdad, to be honest. And he definitely comes from particular circumstances, which I'll get into. But he was raised a good old boy, North Carolina.
Makes sense.
Watch
See
Andy
that.
Griffith growing up. So I think if you're raised on Andy Griffith, you probably got some pretty steady morals. You know what I mean?
Got to.
Like, I can't not watch that show and think, like, man, like, especially watching it now as an adult, like, seeing, like, how him having watched that growing up and how, like, I got to be raised by him, it makes a lot of sense. And you also notice so many more things. But, yeah, he was son of a Vietnam vet. So his dad was always away in Vietnam, jumping out of airplanes and stuff. But when I talk about him, he was, at home, right across the military base, that sort of stuff. I first met him when I was 3 years old, and I say 3 because I remember celebrating my 4th birthday with him. I got a Power Rangers big wheel. Brother got a Batman big wheel. Great times.
Did y'all start like a motorcycle gang?
Pretty much, yeah. This is actually a really great video. It's on VHS. We have it where it's my birthday. Cute little 4-year-old me. And my dad's holding the camera, and he goes, how old are you? I was like, 4 years. And then I say 4 years, and he goes, like, yeah, 4 years of torture. And I look right at the camera. I'm like, 4 years of torture. And I like jump up all happy and stuff. So I've known him since at least then. And he did all the things I would expect a father to do. Help you with your homework, make you dinner. Him and my mom worked separate shifts, so she worked pretty much. I saw him more than her, honestly, because she worked from 4 p.m. to midnight, which I get off at 4. She's off at work. I come home, so he's the one. Said help me with the homework, cook me dinner, playing baseball with us till the sun goes down. The park was right behind their house. Growing up, so it's interesting because while he's not my father, he can also be, and you probably feel the same way, like your best friend at times.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and I almost say sometimes, I'm sure you feel this way, sometimes friends are even stronger than blood,
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I think I have far more friends that are within my immediate circle than my family.
Yeah, and that's how I feel with him. Like, it took a while to really realize that, and you don't realize a lot until you're at an age where you've lived enough life to kind of get an idea of what makes this person the way they are and how, they've raised you, and that sort of thing. And he tells so many stories, my dad.
Tony seems like he has great stories.
Dude, it could be a segment. On God, straight up. He has so many
The world
fucking
according
stories.
to Tony.
It's insane. Like, we'll get one on there someday. Promise that. You will hear from this man.
Something to look forward to.
For sure. But yeah, it was actually on I was taking some psychedelics one time. And, you get really into those things, and to get someone emotional, it was like I realized, like, well, I never really, like, had a quote-unquote dad. Like, it was him the whole time. You know what I mean? So regardless, it's like, even though I think I don't know, like, because I never had, like, that actual father-son connection, so I don't know what that's like. But I imagine it's at least what I have, if not better.
In your mind, father and son connection is what you have with Tony.
Yeah.
And that's what's important.
Yeah. And I think, like, in some ways it's better because it's like there's not that bias there. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
There is that severance, but through all of it, like, they're still there. And again, once you get to, like, know who, like I said, your parents, like your real parents, they might not tell you everything. You know about that.
I do.
But like, my stepdad said he's also, like, my friend. He was like, maybe that's just, like, the father thing, the father and son thing. But, like, you grow up and you realize he also just wants to do the same things you want to do. He wants to get high and play video games. And once you understand them on that level, like,
That's the best.
It opens up a whole new window. And yeah, he's a fantastic guy. He had a very traumatic past as well, which, again, you can kind of see some of those things. Like I said, you can imagine a dad literally coming back from non-PTSD, waking up in the middle of the night ready to kill anybody. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. But I think, I would hope so, his experience helped raise me very well. And interestingly enough, he had so many, he has, like, a kid, but he's also been step-parents to multiple kids before me. Several ex-wives as well. So he runs the gamut there, which bold to try a fourth time, or a third marriage with, 2 kids, me and my brother. It's been going on for better part of 3 decades now. And I think it's a fun time. So I never really knew anything else. So I never had that hate for him. There's always nothing but love. And I still have that to this very day. But it was interesting. Like I said, he lost his son to a divorce. And it was like I completed his stepsonism because he never really had his son. And I never really had my dad. So it worked out.
So you sort of, like, yinned his yang.
Yes,
and he yanged your
exactly. And viewers, listeners of the podcast, and Dylan, you yourself know, like I said, I may not be his blood, but he damn sure raised me.
He damn sure does. Shout out Tony.
Yeah.
Stepping up.
Because there's so many things, like, just really rubbed off on me in the best way.
He's putting the step in stepping up.
For sure. And he makes me, like, feel like I could be a stepdad, but I wouldn't want to. I could do it, but I wouldn't want to.
Tony's a good role model. He
honestly is. Like, he may have some, and you'll hear him, some thoughts, some theories, some great stories. But yeah, he is a great role model.
I think
His
it's
morals
interesting.
are true.
This isn't necessarily strictly step parents, but, like, just in the 3 that we talked about, I think we're talking about 3 people who have been affected by trauma between our 3 step parents. And I think it's interesting how people deal with that.
Yeah, because, like, we're looking at us, but even they, like, they're a whole new person. They got to watch more kids now.
Not only the way that you personally deal with trauma, but how do you deal with trauma in a relationship with children that aren't yours biologically?
It's a tough call.
It is a tough call, but I see, like, Tony handled it well. Bob handled it by keeping busy and drinking, and Terry handled it by being an abusive witch who needed to have control over everything.
Yeah, and like I said, Tony was paying child support for other kids as well.
Right.
Who other people were being stepdad to his kids. So who knows what they were going through?
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole lot of court issues and so many things. It's no fun for anybody.
Oh shit! Can I throw one more out there? I forgot to say.
Yeah, I think we all come out better though.
So if I can just throw one more thing out there, this one's great. This one I think everyone will be pissed off about. So I was going through like those middle school period where you're kind of figuring out yourself, kind of need people to talk to. I didn't really have anyone to talk to at that point. So my dad would go to union delegations every year. Terry would go with him, and then her son and his girlfriend would watch me. So they came and they were like, yo, you want to like smoke cigarettes in the house, do whatever you want to do, fucking fun time. It's just you and me. Like, we're all going to have a good time. None of that bullshit. I would complain about Terry, and he would say, you know, like, oh, I totally get it, man. Imagine being like raised by her, this and that. Really gained my trust. So over the course of like a week, I was really comfortable with him, kind of sharing everything. And this was like 2-3 years that it just like every year was even better. I was like looking forward to whenever my dad left for delegations, because Jeremy and his girl were going to come over and we were going to have a really good weekend. And then one time when we got into a big argument in the house, me, Dad, and Terry, a bunch of shit that I thought had never been relayed to them was brought up. Basically, she had told him to like gain my trust and get all my secrets. And I fucking laid them out there and then just weaponized every single fucking one of them.
Yeah.
So there's different ways that, like, these are all traumatic incidents that happened to these three individuals, but they all handled them in different ways to varying success, and they all found ways to not pass their to either not or to pass their trauma along to the people they were joining a household with. And I think that I find that interesting. I think you're like I said at the beginning, you're so susceptible to what you get. And it's like your parent who is marrying this person might see the best side of them, and maybe you see the absolute darkest side.
It's like the Parent Trap.
I mean, in a sense, like, it's almost scary. Like, the more I think about it, it's like, man, you're really rolling some dice.
Yeah, some people are meant to be parents. Some people are meant to be step-parents. I think being a mother, it's probably even harder being a step-parent, especially if you already have a kid of your own. Maybe not, though, because you can kind of relate to some. I
can understand how it would be difficult, but good Lord, I've seen some ways to not do it. I feel like it.
Shout out the good son. Just thinking about that the other day.
Shout out Tony. I'll say that. Shout out Tony again. Tony fucking doing it right. Best way you could, doing it right.
You'll hear from him eventually.
We will. But I think with that, I don't mean to have a pity party. I just can't talk about step parents without talking about this bullshit.
Yeah, it sounds pretty sucky.
It did suck, man. But, I mean, it made me for better or worse.
I completely agree.
But it's like, at the same time, I don't really like parts of what it made. I don't really like the way that it's affected me. Like, being secretive, I don't like that.
We could change it now that you recognize it.
Yeah, that's going great.
Episode 28, mental health. What is 28? 20.
I'll go back and listen, see if I can draw any
25,
insight.
I don't know. 27, I don't remember what it was. 24?
I think I said most of what I wanted to say about this. Anything you wanted to add?
Nah, fuck Putin.
Fuck Putin, for sure. Love Chihuahuas, though.
Yeah, go Chihuahuas.
With that, let's pay some more bills.
Get this money.
Let's get that ad rev. We'll be right back.
And now, a word from one of the sponsors of tonight's episode.
At a party, some guys told me about this new thing people were doing to, have a little fun. I had to try it, just see what the hype was about. Next thing you know, I'm buying as much as I can get my hands on. So much it started to consume everything, my body, my relationship, especially my bank account. I was borrowing money from anyone who'd give it to me. When no one else would, I had to start selling it, and it just became an easy way to feed my addiction. Just when I thought I couldn't get any more desperate, I started doing NFTs. Soon I was robbing my kid's piggy bank, and when that ran out, I found myself in Chinatown sucking dick to a digital image of Madonna giving birth to a centipede. Sure, I thought about stopping. We all do. But I didn't have paper hands, But after the crypto market crashed, I found myself naked, crying in the GameStop parking lot, got in my forehead. That's when I knew it was time to get help.
So, you got a little wrapped up in crypto, huh? It happens. Cigarettes, alcohol, porn, meth, we all have bad habits. Yours just happens to be worse and way more annoying. Since the crypto market collapsed, many crypto bros have found that the moon is a little further than they thought it was. Now, people who formerly couldn't shut the fuck up about how rich they were going to be are throwing themselves off buildings. Luckily, there's crypto help. Join now and be connected with a licensed therapist to help you start your healing journey today. You'll learn powerful tools to combat your stupid addiction, like uninstalling Reddit and going outside, as well as healthier alternatives such as tennis or a meth addiction. Use code LOSER to save $100 on your first session. Crypto help, because crypto is for losers.
Well, I'm glad I'm not a loser.
Absolutely. I made a little bit of money off crypto a long time ago, and then I got out of there because I knew that the crash was inevitable.
You know, I got a couple Bitcoins after my Cash App rolled over. It was like, I think at its max, like $19, and I should have cashed out because now it's at like $6. Selling at like $6 Bitcoin.
Man, bummer.
I could have had 18.
At least you're
That'd
not.
been like 3 drinks.
At least you're not crying naked in a, what was it, GameStop parking lot?
Yeah, no gun to my head.
At least.
But I tell you what, though, it's probably worth it for that NFT of Madonna with the naked centipede.
Listen, if you are struggling with crypto addiction, please, crypto helps out there, guys.
Yeah, don't be afraid to call. I know there's a stigma out there, but really just bite your losses. Give them a call.
There is a stigma. Just ignore that. Use code LOSER to save $100 on your first session.
And help support this podcast.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. And we're back. All right. Time to turn to one of our old trusty favorites. We love it. Playfully racist, probably. The rant, sombrero.
Not to be confused with the rate fedora.
No.
This is an actual sombrero.
That's RATE fedora.
Yeah, actual sombrero, where we get to kind of rant about some things.
That's right. We're just gonna.
We've done like VeggieTales in the past.
Yeah, we're just gonna throw some things in the hat and pull some things out and just kind of scream about it.
We did our dice roll. Or coin flip rather.
We're gonna pretend that we see an article about this on a local news Facebook page, and we're gonna leave the nastiest boomer comment. Basically, it's like the goal.
Well, I don't have Facebook, but if I did,
this is what you would sound like.
Let me tell you about bread pudding.
Bread pudding.
Bread pudding. Unless your bread pudding is made by my 76-year-old dead grandmother who was born in Georgia or anywhere below the Mason-Dixon line, it's not bread pudding. That is just some nasty ass, dare I say, not pudding, with just chunks of bread thrown in there and cinnamon on top. That's not bread pudding. If it wasn't made with a little bit of racism, it's not bread pudding. Bread pudding should be made with love and just a little bit of hate. None of this manufactured, frozen food, got it in a deli that was sent over from another city, bread pudding. It's got to be homemade and served hot.
Do you mess with that creme anglaise on top?
I mean, usually it's like melted in eventually.
Okay.
But I've had some hot bread pudding and it kind of changed my life.
You ever get it like up north or something?
It's not the same.
Ugh. Oh my god.
It's like getting cheesecake from fucking Florida.
Horrible. So that's bread pudding. Let me see what we got here. See if it's a hot take. What do we have? This is, I feel like I see this. New Balance sneakers.
Let's think about New Balance sneakers.
All right. I'm sorry, middle-aged dads out there, but I'm about to come and shit in your Cheerios. Your big-ass, blocky, white New Balance sneakers, stained green from yard work, they look ridiculous. You look like a clown. You look like a clown with shoes so old, all the color ran out of them. They are so large. What's the kid's tale? Like someone lived in a fucking shoe? They lived in New Balance sneakers is what the fuck they lived in.
New Balance?
Because those things are roomy. Let me tell you, you're talking like a 5-bedroom apartment New Balance freaking sneakers. They are massive, bulky, ridiculous looking. I don't understand it. It's just like if you're wearing them, I just assume that all your opinions don't matter.
There's a reason she was a single mother in a shoe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. New Balance. Yeah. New Balance sneakers. I don't understand them.
I hope I never have to wear them.
if I get to that point, just kill me.
Will do.
Like, I'm gonna go outside in my fucking dad shoes, do
Will
some yard work. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like things I'll kill you for. New Balance, zombie apocalypse. I got you, dog.
They're just like old people Vans.
They are old people Vans. They're like they walked out of the Sears like it's their own Hot Topic, looking at their New Balance with a Black and Decker drill they got.
Why don't they come like lightly stained green?
They should.
I know.
Shouldn't
Like
they?
honestly, that's where they're headed.
Like that's why you get the white ones, so you can like show the trials that you've been through.
Right.
With your new bees.
Yeah. My dad mowed the lawn every single time, like shirt off, like underwear, New Balance shoes.
What are they like the 756s, the 776s?
I don't even know what that means.
It's like the model.
Oh, like
the model.
Whatever the biggest ones are.
I think it's like the 746 or 767 or something like that. I remember it being that.
My brother had these really big and comfortable house shoes in the shape of a NASCAR. And it's like these two big, bulky house shoes. I swear to God, New Balance sneakers are bigger than those. Like cartoonishly stupid. But I digress. That's how I feel about
it's the
New Balance.
786s.
That's them.
The 786s. There you go. They actually make them in gray and blue now.
They should call those things Air Force Ones because they're so freaking big. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm surprised you don't see Biden wearing a pair of those New Balances.
You know what? He is old enough to be wearing them.
All right, I got one for you.
What you got?
Something that doesn't get enough discredit, honestly.
Discredit. Let's do it.
So it's like you got all these numbers, right? You got odd numbers, even numbers, integers, positive, negatives. Numbers you can add up, multiply by 2. Numbers you can multiply by 0 and 1. Numbers that you can do anything with. But there's a few of those numbers you can't do shit with.
Lazy numbers.
Lazy numbers. They're like, you know what? I'm only going to be divided by this and this alone. Prime numbers.
Ugh.
Where do they get off? Get with the program. Everyone else is divisible by something else, you know? It's like you can't just break your own rules once. You're going to be the staunch outlier in a row of nearly infinite numbers.
The Karens of numbers.
The Karens
just
of
need a hill to
numbers.
die on.
They got to. They just stand out like a sore thumb. Fives. Not fives. Threes. What some other ones? Like 7. 7's a prime number, right?
7's prime number.
7? There's not that many, but they're strong and they're few. Let me just roast a few numbers real quick. A few prime numbers. Let's take a look at like the first 5, which is a prime number, by the way.
I know.
They're called munchers? Is that the? Oh, no.
You could roast them just for that.
No, I accidentally mistyped numbers as munchers. All right. Here's the first prime numbers that's divisible by itself and 1, right? 2, prime number, but not bad because it could do so much more. It becomes versatile.
Two's going places.
3, also going places. Like I said, the aforementioned 5, I guess it is prime. Technically, it is prime. But those are your good ones. That's where it stops. 2, 3, 5, you guys got to pass. You've done your work already. You will continue to do your work for the rest of the numbers. 7.
What are you going to do with the 7?
11. You think would be better.
Put those two together, you got something you can freaking work with, but no.
13. 17.
It's unlucky.
17? Yeah, 13's way unlucky. 17, who cares? Who has ever said, you know what number I like? 17. Nobody. The only thing that came out of 17 is our 17th podcast. 19? 19? It was good age. 23? I'll digress here. Prime numbers. Get with it. There's too many is. 97? Come on.
And the audacity and the pretentiousness of calling yourself prime.
I know.
What did you do? Nothing. You did nothing.
You're no semi-truck that can transform into a robot. What makes you think you could be prime?
Mm-mm.
Like, I'm audacious, as discussed previously, but prime numbers, get over yourself.
Prime numbers. Eat a bag of dicks.
2 bags.
2 bags. Well, it's Pride Month, so I think, I think we couldn't get off here without being, without playfully roasting the LGBT community. Now, I don't want to come out hard against gay people, lesbian people, trans people. I don't want to come out against them. They haven't done anything wrong. But you know what we can do? We can talk about some of the gay things about the animal world.
Oh.
So let's take a fucking start. Peacocks.
Peacocks.
What are you doing?
The name just sounds gay.
I know. Like
Double
pea
dicks.
and cock? What are you even doing? What a ridiculous name. And then you want to dress.
How can I take you seriously?
You want to dress like someone who just like fell through a store that only sells clothes for drag shows.
The most flamboyant.
Like a bird just fell through a store. That's the whole thing is like, we have clothes for drag shows. And then woke up on the other side of the store just not knowing what's going on. Just utterly confused. How did I get here? Just the dumbest animals, the dumbest looking animals. Like, you know you're dumb when NBC picks you as a freaking mascot.
I know.
Seriously, a peacock.
Not just a dumb bird, but also a terrible name for a streaming service.
All of it. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not wrong.
Awful.
You're not wrong. Also,
Awful.
terrible name for a streaming service. Just nothing good about them.
Have you ever seen a peacock?
Nothing. And oh my God, have you ever seen a female peacock? I'm currently talking about the males, but ladies, Jesus Christ, oh my goodness, like you.
Feathers out. You think you're looking at a bunch of eyes, and it's like, oh, it's just a bird.
The females are all gray, and they just look like they've been beaten up. They just like they've been living on the side of the road,
I like when they get
in
alarmed,
a gutter.
and the wings just pop up. Like, you're threatening? Not me.
Dumb birds,
Not
very
me.
dumb birds.
Dumb birds, dumb streaming name.
Yeah, peacocks. Go fuck a hat,
Peacock.
or become a hat, so you'd actually have some use.
That'd be a cool hat. We should make that. Sounds Obtuse peacock hat. Little feathers in the back.
Merch.
Peacock
That's right.
hat coming soon to the store.
Come and get this gay.
One more? Yes, no?
Yeah, sure. Reaching in and
I think you just wrote this, but we also just did a whole pod segment on this. So let me tell you what I really think about Karens. I've had some time to think about it.
ruminate on this.
Mull it over. A long time to think about it, clearly. Karens, man, you know, I just think they're bad people. I think, they'll say, I'm not going to go on their terms and say words that they've said, like, you deserve to die, that sort of thing. I do think, not unlike our brother Shill Michaela Schifrin, I think Karens, are actually fake nice.
When are
Fake
they ever
nice.
nice?
Fake nice. That's what I mean. The times you see them being nice, totally just disingenuous. I think they're just liars. They're lying to themselves. Whatever deep-seated psychological torment that caused them to become who they are today. Possibly more than prime numbers they need to get over themselves.
Possibly not getting enough peacock.
Possibly.
And I just kind of want to say on the prime numbers thing, I feel like Karens are like the prime numbers of the human race.
I agree.
They just suck and they contribute nothing.
It's like they look good on the surface. It's like, oh, you're a 5, but then it's like, oh, you're a 5.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, possibly, as you said, not enough peacock. So maybe the peacocks should get with the prime numbers and multiply by the Karens.
Stupid ass haircut.
Yeah, I think they had
Man.
I think you could say some scene ladies transitioned into Karens, so they'll have the peacock in their little updo.
They just sort of like shaved off like the bottom parts and kept the top.
Yep.
Yeah, they just sort of like emoed into Karens.
So Karens are just, I think probably the worst possible people.
Something like that. Like,
yeah, that's what I would say. And you know what else? I'll say this. They're probably going to hell.
do you ever be like in like a line and you see a Karen up at the front and then like she starts huffing and puffing and she opens her mouth and you're just like, oh, already shut the fuck up. Like, I don't know what you're about to say, but please shut up. It's not going to be anything productive.
Yeah, and I think if anyone, again, not to sound sexist, but yeah, if anyone needs to shut up, it's Karens.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure, and 7 years ago.
For sure, 7 years ago.
Laying it down. The last one. I haven't drawn a single one of my own. This is fun. Only done Chris's. Let's see what he gave us. something near and dear to our heart. Wide-ruled notebooks. Trash. Absolute trash.
Garbage.
I mean, just be like an atlas at that point. Like, you take up so much space. I mean, come on. We don't need that much space. We can fit more on a single page. You write down 3 things, that's the whole page. It's all the room you got. You got to write so large. I don't see what the point of it is. Why don't you just have standard size pages, standard rules? You know, why do you got to make your own rules? Wide ruled notebook? No, just have one rule. Stay by it. Stick to your guns. So we can all just keep going along here. Chris, I know you've got something to say about wide ruled notebooks.
So
you're chomping at the bit over there.
They're so wide, I feel like they should have the dotted learning how to draw lines in between each line. They're that big. Like, so unnecessary. The margins, I think, are even large, which is unacceptable.
It's like a training notebook.
It really is. Like, who is it for? It's like a baby's toy.
Right.
It really is. And usually when I get them, it's an accident. The notebook I use for this very podcast is wide rule. It does allow me to write like a maniac, and that might be the only thing I could say is great, because when you get to college rule, some of the lines get a little close, and of course it depends on your own handwriting, which mine is immaculate. However, wide rule, way too wide.
See, you got like...
I need a little more structure.
It's like, oh man, I got this baby who also has like a motion skills disease, but he wants to write. That's who wide rule notebook's for. Other than that baby, no one.
Was like
you don't need
33% less lines.
Why?
I don't know what that equates to as far as like words per page, but it's too many.
Fully
Far
agree.
too many.
Fully agree. Well, man, I gotta tell you, my spleen feels better. I feel like I got to air everything, all my problems.
Yeah,
Couple hot
nice
takes.
breath of fresh air. Just like
Absolutely.
I'm ready to
Just spit the bile out. You feel
take
better.
life on with new abandon.
Especially peacocks. Forget peacocks. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'll just terrible day. for
Imagine a
streaming service. I'll say that
peacock
once more.
in New Balance sneakers with like a Karen haircut.
Don't even want to.
Ugh.
That's merch.
It sounds terrible. I just hate it.
Well, that was a great bit there.
That was fun.
Anything else you want to rant about before we close out this podcast? Those were some great rants we had. Great fun
Fantastic
talking
rants.
about step parents. Couldn't imagine a better pairing.
Man, got to rant about some really fun stuff. Karens. That was great.
Yep. Can't get enough of those Karens.
Cannot.
Sounds like a nice cereal. Can't get enough of those Karanos.
Try new Karen, the cereal.
Just some bitch screaming at you in the supermarket.
That's right. Don't put sugar on it or she'll call the cops.
Yeah, like little Karen cut marshmallows and
Oh, yeah. Trendy little haircut.
scream emojis, you know?
Macaulay, Calkin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on the back it's like whatever. Let's end this podcast.
That's in the pod.
Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen.
Peace and love, guys. We love you. It's just going to be weird. It's sad. I wish we could use it, but it's just going to be weird.
All right, figure it out. Wait till they hear the opener to 27.
Listen, if they stuck around to the end of the episode, we don't need to worry about them.
Yeah.
This is true.
That's where you really let them know.